Welcome to Talking Giants, presented by SeatGeek. I'm your host, Bobby Skinner, here with my co-host, Justin Penik, and we have a Cleveland Browns Week 3 preview. We're going to get into all of that, what the Browns bring, what they're good at, what they're bad at. Hint, they're good at defense, bad at offense. We have Jolly Olive on later for segments. Justin, how we doing?
Bobby, I'm doing all right, man. My voice is leaving my body because we've been umping in the warehouse the last couple days. I've worn the same shirt the last couple days, and we're yapping a lot about football. We're yapping a lot about this team. I'm good, man. This game, it almost feels bigger than let's talk about how the Giants offense matches up with the Giants offense matches up with the Browns defense and vice versa, right? Because there's Jordan Ronan quotes going around that Brian Dable's starting to lose the locker room. Jordan Ronan flirted around that this is feeling like 2017 Ben McAdoo, where the players are starting to whisper. There's the whole Jalen Hyatt thing that we've been teasing and kind of talking about, that situation is not in a good spot. So, of course, we're going to talk ball this episode and how the Giants team matches up against this Browns team. But I don't expect to win this game, Bobby. I don't think they will. But, dude, if we want to start saving jobs, and if we want to start saving a little bit of morale and buying people another week, the Giants got to find a way to win this football game, man. It's bigger than just being 1-2, right?
Yeah, I mean the Giants 0-3 is off. Seasons fall apart. I don't think any of us have any expectations for this team to turn around and make the playoffs or anything. But the further you go into and this, and that, it just gets uglier and uglier. And especially, when you're in year 3 as a coach, right? Which we have not seen for the Giants since Tom Coughlin, right? And Tom Coughlin even had stuff like that. And he was actually taking his team to the playoffs after 3 years. So we'll get into all of it, but we are going to talk about this new Cleveland Browns matchup and everything that gets. I've loved the preview pods this year. I think we've been doing a good job of identifying what teams do well and what they don't do well. First, this episode is brought to you by some special people. We've got Ryan DeRoche, or Dorish. He's not Garagish, he's Dorish. We got Beppies, or Beepies, Beepies. Brad P, and the P stands for Patreon. We got Akbar Hassan G, not Hassan Reddick, Hassan G. Xavier, no last name, Xavier. I love it. Maybe it's just the college. And then Connor Suplita, he's going to do a suplexa on your broke ass. Justin, who are these people?
These wonderful people went to patreon.com/talkinggiants, $2 a month, plus some other tiers if you want. If you want to mess around with that, you can watch and hang out with us while we record the shows live. People just got to see Jolly Olive. We recorded part 2 before part 1. That's how that worked today. Bobby Skinner will send you some stickers in the mail, plus there's some shirt raffles a couple times a month. Patreon.com/talkinggiants. Thanks to our patrons.
I want to talk about the Giants offense versus the Browns defense, because that's out of these 4 units of the Giants offense and defense, and then the same for the Browns. The Browns defense is the one that stands, is set apart from the rest of those units. I mean, this defense is extremely challenging to play against. Jim Schwartz had them at what I thought was the best defense in the NFL last year. I like them more than I did the Ravens. They look great this year, and they're just brimming with talent. There's a lot of guys on the injury report for them, but I think they're mostly the only guy who's a DNP on defense really is Myles Garrett, and I think he's someone that you can not practice and let him go out there and play. And we're talking about possibly the best defensive player in the NFL with Myles Garrett, and you look at some of their metrics on defense, and you're like, oh, they're not so great here. But I would not look at that. I think it's a 2-game sample size, and there's some outlier plays that might influence that. They held the Jags to 13 points. That's really good. The Cowboys scored 33 points. They're like, ooh, Browns lost their touch a little bit. The Cowboys scored 2 legit touchdown drives. That's true. Their next 5 scores were a punt return touchdown, a field goal off of a 1-yard drive because Watson threw an interception, a field goal off of a 10-yard drive, a field goal off of a 14-yard drive, and a field goal off of a 17-yard drive. So 19 points came off of 42 offensive yards in that Cowboys game. But everything starts with their front 4, right? You have Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith on the edge. I mean, that's an insane advantage, right? Myles Garrett with any competent pass rusher is going to be a great duo, but Zadarius Smith is real freaking deal. And on the interior, man, they got guys too. Do you guys remember Dalvin Tomlinson? He's in the middle of that defense. Shelby Harris is in the middle of that defense. And they got some rotational guys that they'll throw in there too. It's just, when you have a front four like that, it just allows you to do so much defensively. It helps your linebackers. It helps your secondaries. And it makes it tough to play on offense when you have to account for a front four like that.
Yeah, man, I think it's talent-wise, I think it's the best front four in the NFL, right? I don't think there's any doubt.
I think it is the best front four in the NFL. I think we did our front rankings on Football Today in the offseason, and they were my number one.
Yeah, and then you include Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who is a weapon as a blitzer and as a linebacker and as a force of negative plays as well. He has some guys in the secondary that are physical and can come down too. 25% pressure rate, according to Pro Football Reference, through 2 weeks. And then they also have a 25% blitz rate and a 10% sack rate through 2 weeks as well. And that's in the top 10. So this is going to be a front four that's going to get after you. And the Giants better be ready for it.
I'm looking at it right now, and I did rank them as my number one unit up front. So, I talk about Jermaine Elamor later in the show, but I think he's key. The Giants are going to keep tight ends in again this game. They're just going to.
So you think they're going to go a little bit more 12 personnel heavy instead of 11 personnel, which is the kind of the pseudo strength of this team?
I mean, that's what they've done the first 2 weeks, and I don't think there's a game where it makes more sense this year.
All right, but let me ask you a question though. Against the Browns, I get it, so I guess I can't be too mad. Like, oh, we're really going to put 12 personnel out there to help block Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith. Against the Vikings, it's a little freaking annoying because they don't have anybody that could really beat you like Myles Garrett and Andrew Van Ginkel. Isn't that kind of, if this offensive line really is better, and if they are improved, and if we're trusting our tackles, especially we trust Andrew Thomas and we want to trust Jermaine, right? Wouldn't you want this team to lean more into what their identity should be, and that's 11 personnel with having 3 good wide receivers on the field, instead of adding another tight end who will be a 0 in the pass game and taking a wide receiver off the field? So do you agree with that?
Not if they're, not if they're going to be running into light boxes the way they've been able to, where teams are not going to stack the box against them. I'd be looking to, run tight ends on the field. Not if Daniel Jones is their quarterback and he's not going to push the ball down the field against leverage. 11 personnel is still going to be their most used, formation, right? We're not saying that's off the field, but they're going to use a good amount of 12, right? They're going to use 2 blocking tight ends. They're going to run the ball. And I think they've, seen success in the past around play action. And if they start doing that and continue to run the ball well like that, then teams are going to respect it a little more. And then that's going to set up some of that 12 personnel play action. And you have a guy like Malik, their offensively runs through Malik Neighbors. Guess what? He's on the field for those. And he's just a go out and win type of guy, especially against the Browns that run a ton of man coverage, more man coverage than anybody in the NFL right now. Malik Neighbors, it doesn't matter what formation you're in. If Malik Neighbors is out wide versus man coverage, he can get open.
Yeah, so if they run a lot of man coverage, that maybe gets me a little excited, because then you're talking about maybe we can utilize some more of those bunch formations where receivers are running pseudo picks, and that's how Malik Neighbors, that first Malik Neighbors play where he has that 30-yard play, that was just receivers kind of clearing out space, and then you have a quarterback that's trailing, and then Malik Neighbors has a lot of room, a lot of separation and yards, and an opportunity for yards after the catch, right?
Yeah, it's just like a basic, drive concept. Tight end runs an end, receiver runs a drive underneath it. Now, here's the thing: is the Browns' corners are not the
Commanders' corners.
They're the exact opposite. Where the Browns have one of the best corner groups in the NFL, where all 3 of their guys are good. And I think Denzel Ward will be a full go this week. He got injured early in the game last week, and they only put him in on 3rd downs because he couldn't tackle. And Ward's been he's played amazing through these first 2 games. He's given up 3 catches on 11 targets and 4 pass breakups, for only 66 yards. He's been awesome. And then they have Martin Emerson and Greg Newsome, who, plays mostly in the slot for them. They've got a really nice cornerback group, so it will be a test for them. But, I think the Giants found some success. You don't want to drop back like crazy against this Browns defense, right? That's not a way to win. The way to win against the Browns is to try and establish some run. Here's the thing, though. I think the Browns' run defense is really good, right? They have 15 tackles for a loss in 2 games. They led the NFL in that in 2023. And they're like, oh, well, they've given up 225 rushing yards this year. Okay, well, the CeeDee Lamb got some jet sweeps in week 1, and then Trevor Lawrence had a 45-yard run in week 2. Their running backs have 147 yards on 35 carries. They're 27th in sorry, that's something else. The starting backs against them, Travis Etienne had 52 yards, Zeke Elliott had 40 yards, and their backups only had 26. So their linebackers, because that defensive line is so good and their corners are so good, those linebackers trigger, man. They trigger to get downhill quick, and that's how they create all those negative plays with JOK and Jordan Hicks. And I think JOK led linebackers in tackles for a loss last year. They get downhill quick. They don't even play at depth either, right? It's not like they're playing at depth and then triggering. They are playing very shallow behind that D-line. That D-line holds their double teams and allows these guys free gaps. And that's where I think the Giants should continue to lean into this duo run stuff, right? Because it's like, all right, let's double team the first level, and we block until we're at the second level. Not zone blocking where we're trying to reach and cut off linebackers. No, we run straight at your ass. It's not a great matchup because you have Dalvin in the middle. You have Shelby Harris. You have edge defenders that are going to try and squeeze shit in. But for a Giants offense that there's not a lot of pathways to success versus this Browns defense, it is running the ball.
Yeah, during 2024, the Browns right now have the 9th lowest run stuff rate at the line of scrimmage. So at least maybe the Giants can stay on schedule. Now if you bring that back to 2023, who led the league in stuff percentage as a run defense? It was the Cleveland Browns. So it's a combination of, well, is it just early season sample size, or because 2023 the Browns led the league in that stuff percentage. So I'm with you, man, because of look at who we have at quarterback. If you take sacks, and forget even just Daniel Jones and not being confident in his ability to push the ball down the field. If you're dropping back on constantly on first and second down, and you're taking sacks, and Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith or some of the interior guys are getting beat, then the drive's over. The drive's just over before it can even begin. So I am with you where if this offensive line is moving and if this offensive line's grooving, you got to stick to the run, and you got to be willing and ready to run a lot of plays in a given drive. And this is a game where I'm very open and willing. Like, hey, we're gonna have to kick a couple field goals. When you cross the 50-yard line, I won't be super hopeful for a touchdown unless an explosive play maybe comes after that or sets us up in a good spot. If we're running a lot of plays in a drive and it's a grinded out type of game, I think you're gonna have to be kicking field goals, and you're gonna have to kind of be fine with that.
Yeah, and they're just aggressive because they have that front, right? Their corners are really good. Their linebackers are really aggressive in what they do. Now, this is where I think you can beat the Browns, and this is where teams have done it. And this is why, there's not a lot of hope for this Giants offense in this game. It is through the explosive play, right? Even in play action, as much as they trigger on play action, and they're good at recognizing it as well too, their linebackers, JOK, those guys are so athletic. They get back and they cut off those crossing routes. So the way to beat them is to throw the deep post, right? To throw, the post corner or the go ball. Like, that's really the way to get anything going in the passing game, and that's really the only thing they've given up through 2 games. Like, Dak and Trevor Lawrence are 6-12 for 201 yards and on 20-plus yard throws, right? Lawrence threw it 23% of the time, Dak 16% of the time. That's where both those teams' only offensive success came from, because they didn't come in the run game. Now, run game wise, you can run some jet sweeps because their linebackers play a little so aggressive. So maybe you'll see a little bit of that with Malik Neighbors or Wandale in this game. And you could get some, Daniel Jones rushing yards when they don't play their lanes perfectly and they got their back turned because they're in man coverage. But the way is to, and this is where the Giants have been good. And Brian Dable actually talked about what we talked about in our mailbag in his press conference on Tuesday or Wednesday, that they're marrying their play action and their run game really well. Yep. Where when you run that duo, it's a lot easier to make your play action look like run when you're blocking like that. When you're zone blocking in play action, it's a lot harder to disguise because you're not working to the second level at all. Well, when you're running those man duos, okay, well, you're not racing to the second level in those looks anyway. So offensively, I think that's kind of the key to it, is keeping that run game good enough and hunting for explosives. You're not going to put up 30 points on this defense. And then if the Browns turn over the ball on offense, taking advantage of it, because that's really the only way to beat this Browns team.
You got it.
And that's the only way Browns lost games last year, basically, was like their defense would kill people, and then all of a sudden they would turn over the ball 3 times. Like, so if the Giants do create turnovers, which we'll talk about our defense in the second, you have to take advantage of those with, a touchdown, and like you got to put up 10 plus points off turnovers.
It's been one of the more annoying parts of the last couple of years, is when the Giants defense does something positive, and then what does the Giants offense do in turn? They squander that opportunity immediately, and it only results in 3 points. It results in a punt. I mean, you saw it week 1 against the Vikings, where defense forces that early turnover. You can't score 7, and it just sets the tone for the rest of the game. So I'm with you, man. You got to put 7 up on the board if the defense does give you a good opportunity.
Why don't you talk to us about something, Justin?
I'll talk to you about something. Oh, man, it's been a while since we've talked about this. You ready for this? The Candlewick Diner, baby, next Thursday night against the Dallas Cowboys. Man, imagine, let's F around, beat the Browns. We're 1-2. It'll be a divisional game against the Dallas Cowboy team that maybe a little susceptible. This is the worst version of the Cowboys that we've seen in quite a while, probably since 2020, where Dak was out. So maybe it'll be a huge game. But regardless, if you're coming to the game, if you want to go to that Giants-Cowboy game, it's a great reason to come, because Candlewick Diner is going to be catering our tailgates. So the link to the description for our tickets, the link to that is in our description right now, so go check it out. But the Candlewick Diner is the place to go for pre- and post-game meals during Giants game day. Did you know Candlewick Diner is just 5 minutes away from MetLife Stadium? Nicky Snacks, where did he go? And he's like, he called me after the Giants game. He's like, where are you? I'm like, I'm driving home. I gotta record. I gotta prep. He's like, no, come to the Candlewick Diner. And I'm like, damn, I gotta go. I gotta record. But it's Nicky Snacks who's at the Candlewick Diner, because it's the best place to go after Giants games. They have a full service bar, in-house bakery, and free delivery. And also, you never know, there's some Giants players that go there. You may run into a Giants player or two. Extensive menu from breakfast burgers to steak to pasta. Check out the Candlewick Diner in East Rutherford, New Jersey for all of your diner favorites. You'll be glad you did, and excited to work with Candlewick Diner again. I believe we've been working with them since 2021, and that's so awesome. I'm very thankful for them. You'll be glad you did.
Yeah, I always head out to the Candlewick Diner anytime I'm in Jersey. So when I was up there for training camp, got there, whenever we have a day off, I'm going for breakfast at the Candlewick Diner. You'll be glad you did. All right, Justin, let's talk about the Browns offense versus the Giants defense. We got a good old bad versus bad matchup. The Browns offense is 27th in rush success rate, 30th in dropback success rate, 28th in EPA per play, 23rd in scoring. This is a bad offense with a bad quarterback. There's really nothing redeeming about this offense except for Amari Cooper, and Amari Cooper's had a really bad first 2 games, but I'm not expecting that to start. Now, it looks like they're getting their offensive tackles back with Jedrick Wills and Jack Conklin, but DeJuan Jones was the one guy that's playing good. James Hudson, left tackle, has been awful. But Wills is no superstar either. And Njoku is probably out. Their tight end. I mean, the way to beat the Browns is just pressure the shit out of Deshaun Watson and make him make stupid decisions. Right? Like, Deshaun Watson right now has the 2nd highest pressure rate in the NFL. A decent part of that is Hudson, at left tackle. So we'll see what Wills looks like. But here's something I'm so excited for. Their center, Ethan Pocic, has given up the most center pressure in the NFL. Guess who he gets to play up against?
Dexter Lawrence.
Dexter Lawrence. He is going to murder. Dexter Lawrence is going to murder Ethan this week. Get ready for this, Ethan. Like, you think you're leading, the NFL in it for 2 weeks? Get ready to see your stats after 3 weeks. You may never recover from this statistically, Ethan. Like, it's amazing. Here's the thing, though. You got to bring Watson down or force him to throw stupid decisions, because that's the one thing he still is good at, is avoiding sacks and, scrambling around and making plays with his legs. He's hard to bring down. Micah Parsons even had a soundbite talking to Myles Garrett where he's like, man, I was killing their offensive line, but I just had a hard time bringing him down. But he's going to put the ball in harm's way. And that has been the way to beat the Browns for a year and 2 games now, is to create turnovers. when they turn the ball over, they lose games. Even sometimes when they do it, they win because that defense is so good. But there has not been a team that has put more points on offense, who's put more points on the board for the others, their opponent, than the Cleveland Browns. That's the way they do it. So, the secondary, these linebackers, you need to make a play and help out your offense for you to stand a chance this week.
Yeah, man, and as you were talking, I just looked up the Cleveland Browns have a top 11 pass rate in every quarter except the second quarter where it's 20th. But in the third quarter, they have the highest pass rate in the NFL. In the first quarter, they have the 11th highest pass rate in the NFL, and that's going to, I'm telling you, that I hope this doesn't come back to bite us in the ass. And man, that would be a huge indictment on Shane Bowen if Deshaun Watson looks like any form of his Houston Texans self this game. That would be a huge indictment. But I think the best chance the Giants have to win this game is Deshaun Watson throwing the ball and Deshaun Watson making mistakes and Deshaun Watson looking like the quarterback that he's been, one of the worst quarterbacks in the National Football League since he has been acquired and since he has started playing for the Cleveland Browns. That's the best chance. That is the best chance that the Giants have at winning. Because it's a shame, man, because Kevin Stefanski was one of these guys and was one of these coaches like Harbaugh's Ravens, like Shanahan's 49ers. And you would put the Browns and Stefanski in the same sentence of saying, you know what, in a league that wants to pass and throw, Kevin Stefanski's Browns have all been all about, we're going to run the damn ball, we're going to run it down your throats, and also we're going to be damn efficient at it. And it's a shame, man, that they've traded for this shouldn't use the word bum. They've traded for this bad guy at quarterback, and they've sucked.
I feel like bad guy is worse than bum.
And they've gone away from their identity as a Browns team, what made them kind of successful and rise up to begin with. And now they're, okay, we're just going to change this entire team for Deshaun Watson, and we're going to be bad at it. So, man, I really hope, like, they are going to throw the ball. And when they do run the ball, I think they're going to get heavy. They're going to put offensive linemen out there because they don't have blocking tight ends. David Njoku looks like he may be out. So
yeah, they literally have offensive linemen being used as jumbo tight ends, putting them in motion and shit.
Yeah, so this Giants defense and this passing defense has to look better, man. They have to.
Yeah. If there's any offense that this defense could really look good against, it is this offense. Like their running backs have 36 carries for 161s. That's 4.4 yards per carry. But 36 of those yards off of a fourth down full house sweep where the Jags just didn't have any edge presence, right? And so I hate when people are like, oh, well, if you take away this big run, well, it's like, well, they earned that big run. Well, that was just Jags bad, just guessing wrong on a play. They're 3.5 yards per carry without that. They're really bad. Neither Foreman or Jerome Ford are doing anything. Nick Chubb, this run game without Nick Chubb is just not the same. You talk about a guy who's like has a historically high yards per carry, like like top 10 all time. And you watch this offense, right? I'm like, what is the identity? There's really none.
No.
Like, the only identity where it's like, this is a consistent thing I see out of you guys is force feeding Elijah Moore, right? That is the only thing where I'm like, this is the consistent thing is they force feed Elijah Moore, and he's 45th out of 45 receivers with 10 targets and average depth of target. And their receivers all have, I think, let me pull it up right here. I didn't write this down exactly. Cooper has 15 targets. Judy and Moore both have 14. So they spread it out between those three. But they're also, they also drop the ball. The Browns have 8 overall drops this year, the most in the NFL. Giants are second with 6. How about that? Got a little bad versus bad matchup. I would expect Cooper to be really good, but I also, through 2 games, Shane Bowen has made an effort to double and not let wide receiver ones take over games. And I think Jerry Jeudy and whoever plays against him is like the biggest matchup in this game for the Giants defense, which I'm hoping it's Adoree Jackson because I think Jerry Jeudy would kill Flott.
It doesn't look like Nick McLeod is going to play.
McLeod's out. Yeah.
Yeah. So Nick McLeod's not going to play. The thought that just came to my head too, Bobby. It's not necessarily like the passing offense or rushing offense necessarily. What the Browns did do successfully last week is they ran a lot of plays against the Jaguars. They ran a lot of football plays. Like there were some 18-play drives, some team-play drives that wound up at field goals. So that, that's the thing that I'm cautious of with this Giants defense is that they just did this with Washington last week, where they ran a lot of plays, a lot of time of possession, just tick, 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 tick. I call it pitter patter. I call the pitter patter on the stream, and I think people got a kick out of that. That's what I'm worried about. If this Giants defense isn't going to be aggressive, if they're not going to force turnovers, and if the Browns will run a lot of plays, and if Deshaun Watson does not make mistakes, they will run a lot of plays. They will eat away a lot of time of possession. Our offense will not be on the field, and it may feel similar to last week.
Because they have no desire to push the ball down the field. I mean, Watson's 1 of 6 on deep passes this year. And his 7% deep throw rate is 24th to 32. He's 28th to 32 in completion rate. And forget just 20-plus yard throws. He only has 7 completions of over 10 air yards this year.
Wow.
Right? So everything is quick game. But the thing is with the Browns, if they don't turn the ball over, they usually win, right? Like they just beat the Jags 18 to 13. 2 of those points came from a safety, on Trevor Lawrence. So they scored 16 points. They scored 18 the week before versus the Dallas Cowboys. They're really not capable of any offensive success. And whenever they do get it, it's an outlier for them, right? Their play action game sucks. They're 30th to 33 in play action yards per attempt, 27th to 33 in completion percentage. It's just Watson doesn't have confidence in anything that he's seeing down the field. So they've resorted to quick game and then trying to scheme up some longer plays for Amari Cooper. And that's what that offense is. And trying to run the ball, they're just not good at it. But this is a game where I'm hoping the Giants can force Deshaun Watson into 2 turnovers.
Right.
That I don't care if it's a strip sack or what. Just force Deshaun Watson into 2 turnovers. And no matter how bad the Giants offense is, that does give them a chance in this game.
Right. Or the Browns view that, hey, the Giants' rush defense is terrible. They put offensive linemen on the field and they run the damn ball, and then I'm extremely worried about that. I don't care if the Browns' rushing offense isn't great. I'm worried about the Giants not being able to stop the run. I don't care what team, right?
Which I wonder if the Giants will start to adjust to that and stack the box a little more. Because they've had the, 69, 70% of light boxes this year.
Yeah, it's been one of the lightest in the NFL.
If they start to stack that a little more and realize, we don't have Tennessee Titans personnel up front. Our DBs are not, we can't be relied on outside of Andrew Phillips and Tyler Nubin and run fits. Can you do that? Can Bobby Okereke start to make some more plays and just do his job, what she's talked about in the media? So some big tests for this Giants defense, not because of the Browns offense, because most defenses in the NFL should have success versus this Browns offense. So if you can't find success against them, you're worrisome, right? You look at the Commanders game, you gave them all these quick throws, Jaden Daniels made plays with his legs, and then they ran the ball on you. Don't let the Cleveland Browns do that as well to you. So, Justin, before we bring on Jolly Olive, I want to talk to you guys about something. I want to talk to you about SeatGeek, and I want to thank SeatGeek so much for sponsoring this episode. Baseball's in full swing. NFL is here. It's not even around the corner, right? Would love that to be updated. SeatGeek is the best place to buy tickets in the world. I use it for everything. I've used it for NASCAR, football. I've used it for literally every sporting event I've been to in the last few years. I've used SeatGeek. They rate every ticket on a scale of 1 to 10, so you're getting a good deal. That's the other thing is you don't have to sort by cheapest and try and search. It's just they make it easy. Just look for the dark green dots. Green means good, red means bad. And right now you can use code GIANTS10 for 10% off any tickets on SeatGeek, whether you're a new customer or not. No matter how many times you bought tickets using SeatGeek before, GIANTS10 is going to get you 10% off your next order. Again, that is a game changer in the ticketing game. So take out your phone, whip that thing out, open the SeatGeek app, and add code GIANTS10 to your account. What are you waiting for? Which, again, you don't have to use it at checkout. You can just add the code now, use it later. Do it now because the offer is only available for a limited time. Code GIANTS10 for 10% off your next order. You'll be glad you did. And here is Jolly Olive. All right, we now welcome on to the show for weather and trivia, Jolly Olive, and our meteorologist, our Doppler Jolly. Jolly, what's the weather looking like in Cleveland, Ohio this weekend?
Thank you, fellas, for having me on. Third straight week, skies are looking pretty clear for our New York Giants, which would make you think that it might be time for better football. I've got sunny, partly cloudy, partly windy, but not much that's going to affect the game. It'll be a little humid, but no climate in the mid-80s. So a nice, warm, summer-esque game for the Giants to hopefully put the past behind them and get in the win column.
Have you ever been to Cleveland?
I have not been to Cleveland. I've never been to Ohio, and I may never be.
We're going to Canton, Ohio next year for the Eli Manning Hall of Fame ceremony.
Oh.
We're doing a live show and stuff there. You're welcome to come, Jolly.
I would love to.
So I was just thinking, like, oh yeah, we're in Ohio this weekend. We're going to be in Ohio in about 10 and a half months. I'm excited for that.
I'm going to be in Ohio Thanksgiving weekend.
For what?
Ohio State, Michigan.
Mm.
And I will be stopping in at Canton. I'll scope out where we can set up our table and stuff.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. We have trivia before we get into everything else, and we're keeping score this year. I am up 4-1 on Justin on trivia, so I have a pretty big lead on the way to getting a jersey. Jolly, what do we got for trivia this week?
Yeah, if you're tuning in for your first preview part of the season, trivia is a little bit different this year. The most points at the end of the year, I will be getting that person a Giants jersey of their choosing, so it's a little bit more competitive. I screwed the pooch a little bit last week. Justin Penik also struggled with the directions last week.
I struggled with directions a lot.
There was an opportunity for multiple points, but then we had you guys read it out loud, so it was kind of messy. So this week, I'm going to have you text me your answers. I'll read them out loud. And
Points
I'll tell
last
you.
week redacted.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's part of
Paying attention is a big part of this game.
Paying attention is a big part of this game, Penik, okay? It's very important going forward. All right.
You texted me last Sunday at 2:24 p.m. Liked that drive.
I did. I liked that drive a lot.
Yeah, I didn't respond.
Things changed after that.
Yeah.
Okay. And I was going to text you again before the Singletary fumbled, but that's beside the point.
Well, that's your fault.
All right. My bad. Okay. Here is today's trivia question. The Giants have played the Browns twice in the past decade. They won in 2016 and they lost in 2020. We're going to talk about the 2016 game because it's a much more fun season, much more fun game. In that game, the defense recorded 7 sacks against the Cleveland Browns, the same Browns that would go on to finish the year 1-15 with Josh McCown under shotgun. So here's your opportunity for points. There are 4 players that recorded a sack in that game. You can send me as many names as you want. The max amount of points you can get is 4 if you get all 4 names correctly. If any of the names are wrong, you get no points.
If any of them are wrong.
If any of the names you send me are wrong, you get no points. So you can send me one, lock up 1 point.
So the 2016 matchup?
The 2016 matchup where the Giants claimed victory 27-13 to improve to 8-3 under Ben McAdoo.
Can I be honest?
Okay.
I have no memory of that game.
I just sent 2. I actually think I have a pretty distinct memory of that game of one moment, and I'll wait to say what happened in it, but it was very funny that it happened because of things that had happened in the previous offseason. So, Justin, let me know when you've sent your answers because I've sent my... I just did 2.
I got Bobby's. Don't be nervous, Justin.
I'm extremely nervous.
Be great instead.
Jolly, did I get both mine right?
You did.
All right, I'm sending you... I just sent you 3 answers.
Okay, I like that you went for 3. Being bold. I respect that a lot. All right, good news. So both of you said Jason Pierre-Paul and Olivier Vernon. So you both get 2 points. Naturally, Penik added another one on top of that. Jonathan Hankins also recorded a sack in that game. So you'll get 3 points this week and make up some ground. The only missing name that neither of you went for, Jack Rabbit Jenkins.
Okay. I'm glad. I was thinking like an Okwara brother, because he was
Didn't
there in
JPP
2016.
have an interception in that game? And
JPP,
that was like without a hand, with his hand. Like he had an interception without a hand. That's how bad the Browns were that year.
It was a pick 6, right?
I don't have that here. Oh, no, yes, I have it here. It was a fumble recovery.
Oh, fumble recovery.
Yeah.
What game did he have the interception in then?
I don't know, but he had a monster game. 2 QB hits, fumble recovery, touchdown, 3 sacks.
Yeah, I remember he just was dominant in that game. Man, JPP, the first thing that comes up with his name is hand instead of like stats or anything.
That's sad.
Yeah, it's also sad that like he must have some type of like money issues because he keeps trying to play in the league even though he's been lost for a few years. Like he's played the last 14 years. Like last year with the Ravens, he was totally done. Teams like bring him on the practice squad and say that's it. Let's see. No, he didn't have an interception that year. It must have been the next year.
So Bobby, you moved to 6 points in trivia. Penik, you climbed to 4, I believe.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so you closed the gap to just 2 points. Still anybody's game. Still plenty of football left to play. Nicely done this week, boys.
What year did JPP blow up his hand?
I believe that was 2014.
The year before, rather.
2015.
I think it might have been 20.
It may have even been 2013.
Do you remember where you were?
Because he was on the franchise tag at that point, and I think he played under the...
It was July.
I was around fireworks when it happened.
Well, I think a lot of people were.
Yeah, well,
So
I
was
thought that
Jason
was a
Pierre-Paul.
unique experience.
So was
So
Jason
was
Pierre-Paul.
Jason Pierre-Paul, Jolly.
No way, really?
Yeah.
What are the odds?
What happened with Jason Pierre-Paul? It was 2015.
Oh, I was okay. So I was right.
Nice.
You said it might have been 2013.
Well, I first said 2014, 2015. So I was right. Go with your gut.
Is that how that works?
Yep.
All right, so the trivia right now is 6-4 me over Justin. All right, now we have our fantasy draft, which, Jolly, you'll enjoy this because Justin drafted Malik Neighbors last week, and Malik Neighbors did really good. Justin's after the game, I was like, I'm going to tally up and see where we're at, and Justin's like, oh, I probably won, right? Justin actually did the worst last week with 33.1 points.
Yep.
Jolly, you had 36 points. I went first back-to-back weeks with 40.9. Jolly, you're picking first, even though you are last in the standings. You are 16.9 points back. I'll be picking second, and then Justin, who's in picking third, he's 16.5 points. So you guys are separated by less than a half a point. But I've got a pretty good start to the season. Jolly, who is your 1-1 this week?
This is a tough draft. There's not a lot to love on this board. I'm worried about the Browns running back situation. Ford only had 7 carries last week. It looks like they're splitting up him and Foreman. I think the 1-1 here is fairly easy, although I don't know how it's going to go because I don't know how much time Daniel Jones is going to have. But I'm going to take Malik Neighbors. He had a monster game last week. He was the go-to option on several drives, and I'd have confidence that if the Giants get anything going, it'll be because of Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, I agree with having Neighbors 1 here. One, the Browns, we talked about in the first half of the show that we haven't recorded yet because Jolly is a diva. Their receivers have 15 targets and 14 targets and 14 targets. So their receivers' target share is very much even. And Cooper's had a bad start, a couple of drops. So I agree with that. And then neither running back, like you, have a lot of confidence in to just have continued success. So I agree with Malik Neighbors 1-1. But that makes the pick easy for me. Even though he has had a bad start to the season, Amari Cooper is still amazing. I worry that they'll double him, but I don't know if this is the right team to double because they do share the targets around so much. I'm going Amari Cooper with my second pick.
I'm a little surprised by that.
Who would you have picked? Judy, because he's had better stats so far this year?
No, I mean,
I would have picked a running back, I think.
I honestly would have picked Devin Singletary. And that's what I'm going to do with the third pick.
Take him with the third pick. The Browns' run defense is pretty damn good.
At least I'm going EPA per play through the first 2 weeks of the season. It's been below average. So, and the Giants' run offense, I actually
Trevor
trust
Lawrence
them
had
to
a
move
long
bit.
run. The Cowboys' receivers had runs. This is the benefit of not recording the first half first. I haven't made all these points yet. This is a tough matchup for the New York Giants, and Singletary might be the third pick in this, but it's a tough defense. Who do you have with your second pick?
I'll go picking a Browns running back is tough, but I'm gonna go Donta Foreman. He had 14 carries the week before. Honestly, like if you were to pick Devin Singletary, there was part of me that wanted to go like Jerome Ford and Donta Foreman back to back because I will just take whatever the Browns do on the ground, I will have. And odds are, if I had a guess, they're running for 150, 175 yards on the ground. That's my guess, if they commit to it.
Yeah, and with Conklin back, and we'll see what Wills is bringing them. But yeah, you wonder if they'll start to give a little more carries to Jerome Ford because he's, he has been a little more efficient, but that's really based off of one big run that he had last week on a 4th down and 1. But yeah, in a game where you don't trust either passing offense, I guess you're trying to get both running backs isn't bad. All right, so it's wrapping back around to me. I mean, I'm going to go Jerry Jeudy. He was actually number 3 on my big board. And cornerback 2, whether it's Adore or Flott or whoever, I don't trust that. And the Giants through 2 weeks have doubled the wide receiver ones a lot, right? Justin Jefferson was doubled a lot. Terry McLaurin was double teamed a lot. So that allows Jerry Jeudy, and I like Jeudy, right? I know he's not the perfect player, but I think he's a really good route runner and can win. I'm getting Jerry Jeudy, my number 3, at number 5. Jolly, you got back-to-back picks.
Yeah, I do. I hate that I didn't get a running back because I think this is going to be a ground game. I loved your idea. I thought I had the 3rd and 4th because I'm in last place, and I was like, oh, just get the Browns running back. Yeah, I know that now. So with that, I'm gonna play the targets game and hope that he's kind of just a panic check down dump off option on a lot of plays, and I'll take Wandale because I think he can just get points on the board. I think I've taken Slayton both of the first 2 weeks, and I've gotten almost no production out of him, so I'm gonna abandon that ship and take Wandale at 6, and then like after that, dude, it's thin. Jeez. I would love to take Njoku here, but he's not going to play. I'm like fairly certain of that. I'd rather not waste.
Yeah, Njoku's not playing.
Yeah, I mean,
basically confirmed that he's not playing. I hate to give you some help here, but I do like the Wandale thing. I mean, he's gotten 16 targets through 2 weeks.
Yeah,
and in a game where the Browns' defense is real deal and their pass rush is nasty, I think Wandale's going to get a lot of targets again. So I think that's a safe pick.
Yeah, I mean, he's gotten one less target than Amari this season. It's just, they're viewed a little differently. I guess I'll take Slayton on the wraparound. I'll just take the Giants wide receivers and hope that someone can create a big play. And, if there is a big play that is had, I know that I have it. So I'll take Slayton.
Yeah, I mean, the way to beat the Browns is by getting big plays. I don't know if I trust Dable to even dial them up against this Browns defense, but that is the way to beat them. But I'm really happy with my board because I got number 2 and number 3 on my big board, and now I'm getting number 4, Elijah Moore.
Fuck.
I don't know what I expect him to get yards wise, but this Browns team for now over a year force feeds him with manufacturer touches. He has a very low average depth of target, but he does get a lot of targets. He has the same amount of targets as Amari. One less than Jerry Jeudy, so I like Elijah Moore here. I think this is about as safe as a pick you can get with the 8th pick in a game with two bad offenses. So, Justin, you got your last 2 picks.
Yeah, I do. It's unfortunate. Dude, Hyatt doesn't exist as a football player. Theo Johnson doesn't exist as a football player. I mean, Did we take the top 2 somebody took Jerome Ford, right?
Did no one take Jerome Ford?
You were acting like Jerome Ford was gone.
I was acting like he got selected. I think I did that in my head. Whatever.
I was going to tell you that. Why are you acting like he's not off the board?
That's on me.
All right, so I'll take Jerome Ford.
Take Jerome Ford. Absolutely. That's a user error.
I almost called Justin Jason like a couple of our commenters do. Justin gets all the running backs.
Yeah.
I get all the running backs, and I have one more pick,
which is not a bad strategy in a game with 2 bad offenses and 1 really good defense.
And I have one more pick, right?
Yeah. Why don't you take Tyrone Tracy and just go all backs?
No, I think that'd be funny. You should do it.
No, I'm going to take an old friend of the Giants, Jordan Atkins.
People forget that Jordan Akins didn't even make the Giants 53-man roster in 2022.
Yeah.
And he was viewed as a starter. UCF guy, former baseball player. Came into the league late. Do you know anything? Here's some trivia. What team did Jordan Akins get drafted by?
Oh,
in baseball.
In baseball.
You
should know this trivia, man.
What year? Can you tell me that?
Let's see.
He's a big
2010 of the MLB June amateur draft.
2010.
Is that different than the regular draft?
No, it's the same.
He was a 3rd round pick, by the way.
All right, I'll fire a dart and I'll just say
Baltimore Orioles.
Pittsburgh Pirates.
Here, I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
It was for a team in the state that he's played most of his football.
Texas.
So it's
the Houston Astros?
Nope, it's the Texas Rangers.
We got a 50-50. We
the fucking forward Ranger.
World champs.
They are the world champs.
People forget.
All right, So I have the last pick. And, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shit.
it's accurate.
I kind of don't want to take Jalen Hyatt, so Jolly just takes Jalen Hyatt every
'Cause
week and
I'm
gets
thinking
0
about-
points out of him.
I'm thinking about it.
Because there's really nobody, like, it's basically Theo Johnson, Jalen Hyatt, or Tyrone Tracy at this point. There's no other options. Like, this is one of the shortest big boards, unless you want to get in on some, Daniel Bellinger, Chris Manhurst love. Like, their backup tight end this week is on the practice squad. It hasn't even been elevated yet.
They're more likely to use offensive line. I'm gonna talk about this in the first half of the show. They're more likely to use offensive linemen than like tight ends, like for blocking.
You know what? Even though this guy's not happy, and he may have mentioned wanting to be traded in a practice.
Bryce Ford.
They're trying to mend some fences. I'm going Jalen Hyatt.
Wow.
This is I'm gonna burn you so bad, Jolly, because this is gonna be the game that Jalen Hyatt gets that big play, and you're not gonna get shit. What's the last pick?
That's fucked up, dude. All right, well, I was definitely going to take Jalen Hyatt for the meme because it wouldn't it be funny if I had all 4 Giants wide receivers on my team. I guess I'll take
Oh
Theo
my god, that'd
Johnson.
been awful.
I know,
Ew.
it would have been sick.
Ew.
I
No,
have all the Browns receivers.
I'm taking no Browns. I'll take Theo Johnson. Hopefully he can find the end zone again. That'd be cool. I'm not going to believe in it, but that would be cool.
Hey, at some point, Theo Johnson will get a lot of catches. Could have happened week 1 if DJ was a little more accurate. Who would have been next on your guys' board? Because who would be
After
number
that
13?
pick? God, dude. I mean, Njoku being hurt messes all of this up.
Yeah,
Tyrone Tracy does get carries.
Yeah.
So.
yeah, it would
Tracy.
have to be Tyrone Tracy. That's the only other option. How about that? All right, so to recap, myself in first place has Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy, and Elijah Moore, and Jalen Hyatt. Justin in second place by less than a half a point. Devin Singletary, Deontay Foreman, Jerome Ford, and Jordan Akins. And then Jolly in last has Malik Neighbors, Wandale Robinson, Darius Slayton, and Theo Johnson. I mean, Jolly literally has the Giants starting 11 personnel.
Let's go, baby. Got to believe in something.
Outside of the running backs in there. All right. I'm excited for this week. I feel like you guys can either get close or I'm going for the highest average points per game season, which I think was Justin in 2020. All right, it's time for the Giant Factor. Jolly, you get to pick Giant Factor for the first pick for the first time.
And I'm excited about it. Mine's pretty straightforward this week. I'm going to pick Dexter Lawrence. Last week was tough for him because he got doubled most of the game. He couldn't really have an effect on the game, I think. In a one-on-one matchup, you would have seen a more explosive game from him. But it doesn't change the fact, 0 tackles, no QB hits. If the Giants are going to have any shot in this game, a big part of it is going to be stopping the run, I think, because I'm not super worried about the Browns' passing offense. Their run game, though, is fairly established, and I think the biggest way we can get in the way of that is Dex just having one of his more monster games. I thought about going Burns again, but I've just been really disgusted with him these past 2 weeks. I really have been upset watching him play football. And I don't know how much optimism I want to place in him right now. I need to see a little bit more. So I'm going to pick Dex. I think he can have a big game in a more favorable matchup, and hopefully he can show out.
Jolly really is replacing Danny well by picking the Giants' star players as their X factors.
Well, Burns.
Next week it's going to be a quarterback. Next week Daniel Jones is going to be his X factor.
Unless it's a backup QB, then I'll do it.
All right, so you do know some talking Giants ball.
Come on.
Yeah, if it's a backup QB, we're actually bringing Danny King back for an emergency episode. Just for the Giant Factor. Just like, hey, Danny, record your Giant Factor for this week.
And then goodbye.
Goodbye.
All right, I'm going to go Jermaine Elmanor. I know Myles Garrett did not practice in back-to-back days, but Myles Garrett is one of those players where you can not practice him and just be like, all right, just show up on Sunday. Even if he doesn't play, they have Zadarius Smith on the opposite side, who's a great pass rusher, a two-way player. They're both two-way players. I need Jermaine because they put a lot on his plate to protect the interior of this offensive line. To not have a disaster game, right? You can have a below average game, and I will be happy because we're not expecting you to stop best pass rushers in the NFL. What we're expecting for you is to not let the best pass rushers in the NFL ruin an entire game plan. So Jermaine Elmanor, you are my week 3 Giant factor. Justin, what do you got?
Man, I know you just made fun of Jolly for going with the stars of the team. I was going to go with Andrew Thomas because it's like, oh, well, the Giants are probably going to lose this game. So let's just root for our star players to win that superstar matchup. Like, I want to go on the Sunday postgame pod saying, yeah, bad loss, but Andrew Thomas bested Myles Garrett, and that was really fun. But I'm not going to do that since you just talked about the right tackle. I'm not going to make the left tackle my X factor. So maybe I'll go back to the defensive side of the ball. You know what? Fucking Brian Burns. That's what I was about to go with. You know what? Tyler Nubin. How about it, man? How about
That's a good one.
You've been physical in the run game. Deshaun Watson makes mistakes. He makes mistakes. Tyler Nubin, Bobby's been talking about it in the film review. Tyler Nubin takes chances. He's an all-or-nothing player. How about we get some all plays? I think if there's a path to victory for this New York Football Giants, it's going to have to be that this defense is going to force some turnovers, put the offense in some optimal spots. Tyler Nubin, go out there, get your first interception, force Deshaun Watson to make some mistakes, continue to be physical in the run game, go out there, be a Giant factor. Boom.
That's a good one. Yeah, we need for the Giants to win this game. The Giants need to create turnovers. They need this to be an ugly Browns offensive game. So Tyler Nubin be a Giant factor. You mentioned that 2020 game, Justin.
Yeah.
Is that not one of the more memorable Giants games in the last 5 years? It was their first Sunday Night Football game in forever. It was Colt McCoy playing.
Yeah.
It was Joe Judge going for it on fourth down and being super ultra aggressive.
The trick plays. Like the one time Joe Judge was aggressive on fourth down, people lost their mind on it. But it was Andrew Thomas did shut down Myles Garrett. Freddie Kitchens was calling. If Freddie Kitchens was calling the plays because Jason Garrett got COVID, and all of a sudden it was their most aggressive offensive game plan.
Ooh.
That was one of my more memorable games in a long time. And I remember being pissed that week because remember they put against the Cardinals the week before, Daniel Jones with the hamstring injury, put him out there. Clearly he injures his ankle in the first quarter. He's like out there, just cannot move, and they're putting him out there in the fourth quarter while he's getting fucking lit up. He got sacked 8 times in that game. Guys just fucking up protections and stuff. It was one of the more memorable weeks as a Giants fan. That was a 2-0 prediction game for me. I remember it. All right, time for spread picks. Before we get to spread picks, Jolly, who's bringing us spread picks?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked, Bobby, because spread picks are brought to you by Captain Morgan. You guys know this already, but this NFL season, you need the right players in the game, and sometimes you need to spice things up. The same goes for your drinks. We all know this by now, so when it gets bland, try Captain Morgan's original spiced rum because it's delicious and crisp, perfect for game day with friends, and it really gets you there. So visit CaptainMorgan.com to find Captain near you. Please drink responsibly. Captain Morgan Original Spiced Rum, 35% alcohol by volume in New York. Find the Captain near you. Please drink responsibly. Thank you, Captain Morgan.
You'll be glad you did.
Thank you. Trivia question. Who's the official spiced rum sponsor of the NFL?
Do you want to say it?
That's for you.
Captain Morgan, I win in trivia again.
Right, spread picks.
Spread picks. How about this? Jolly and the listeners are tied for first at 8-7. Jolly off of a 3-4 week. The listeners off of 4-3 week. And then me and Justin are tied for third at 6-9.
Nice.
Myself with a 3-4 week. Justin with a 4-3 week. So I got to get to over 500. Last year was my first year under it at one game. I got to get back over it. It's our first bad Thursday night football game. We got Patriots at Jets -6, even though I am a little bit interested to see how the Patriots defense will do against the Jets offense. Listeners represented by Gabe Whiteman, not a straight black man, a Gabe Whiteman. I'm sorry, Gabe, for making fun of your name. It's not middle school anymore. I'm going Patriots +6, though. I think their defense keeps this game tight, and they might even fucking win this thing.
Yeah, I'm going like Jets 24, Patriots 20. So I think the Pats cover this 6-point spread for sure. I think they can run the ball. They'll commit to it, and the Jets don't have a good run defense.
Yeah, listeners agree. Jolly, do you agree, or are you going against the grain? This is a good way for you to be in first place on Sunday.
But I have to have picks I believe in, and I believe the Patriots will cover.
Wow. Yeah. Damn, we have not... You know that every single Thursday night game this year, us three have agreed? Now, we're 2-0. Listeners are 1-1. But we're there. All right, 2-0 versus 2-0. We got Chargers at Steelers -1.5. Justin, what do you got in this game?
You're going to hate me. Steelers minus 1.5.
Whoa.
Is
Really?
If Justin Herbert wasn't dealing with an injury, what would you say?
I would still say Steelers minus 1.5.
Okay. Jolly, what do you got?
I got the Chargers going on the road and beating the Steelers.
I agree, man. Like, I'm all in on the Chargers, and I picked them to win a lot of games this year, and a part of that is I think their schedule's bad, and they took advantage of that the first 2 weeks of the season. Their defense, I think, they've been really good as a run defense. I think they're going to take advantage of, not letting Justin Fields do the things that he's good at. I'm going Chargers plus 1.5, as well as the listeners. Next game, we got Eagles at Saints minus 2.5. This feels like a big game in like 2018, 2019, but it's very, very different now. I'm all in on the Saints. Like, I actually think the Saints are just a legitimately good team. I've been high on their defense all offseason, and now that their offense is coached by Clint Kubiak and cooking, I'm in on the Saints. Saints minus 2.5. They go to 3-0. Eagles fall to 1-2. Justin.
Yeah, I'm going to go Saints minus 2.5. If this is a game where the Eagles had A.J. Brown, I feel a lot different, where the Eagles offense has some more answers, but they don't have those answers. It's Devontae Smith, and it kind of feels like bust. I know Dallas Goedert's still there, funny story about him. But, I don't feel threatened. I don't feel threatened by Dallas Goedert, unlike Bobby Skinner.
Neither did I in that South Dakota bar.
I know, Bobby Skinner didn't feel threatened by him either. That's why I punched him in the face. So give me Saints minus 2.5. Very interested to see, though, if the Saints can continue to have an explosive offense against a Vic Fangio defense.
Listeners agree. Jolly, do you agree?
No, I'm going against the grain on this one. I'm taking the Eagles. I think they can recalibrate from last week, consider it a blip, and move on to 2-1.
I just worry about this Eagles offense without
AJ Brown, yeah.
AJ Brown. And the Saints defense is really good. Like this,
Yeah.
I know we're all excited about Clint Kubiak as the Saints OC, but this to me is more about the Saints defense than it is their offense.
Saquon Barkley also just can't break a tackle, so
He's like 5th in yards per contact, or yards after contact per attempt.
he can't break a tackle.
Texans at Vikings plus 2. The Texans defense gives a lot of people trouble. Brock Purdy took a lot of sacks last week, and it's like, oh, he's a Shanahan stopper. And I know slow it comes from the Shanahan tree, but the quarterbacks that have success against this Vikings defense are the ones that do full field reads, process post snap really well, and that's CJ Stroud. They have options. Texans improved to 3-0. I'm going Texas minus 2. The listeners are going Vikings. Jolly, what do you got?
I've picked Texans twice, and I've gotten points twice, so I'm going to do it until they burn me. Give me the Texans.
Actually, they didn't give you points twice because they were the one pushed last week.
Shit.
Justin, who do you got?
Shit. Vikings. Be different.
Right.
Be bold.
Yeah, at least we got a 2-2 split in these picks. All right, we got Packers at Titans minus 2. I don't think Jordan Love's playing, but if it's not, it's the Malik Willis revenge game. Justin, what do you got in this one?
Oh, man, I don't know. I haven't tracked Jordan Love's progress. Give me Titans. Fuck no. Fuck no. No. Will Levis played better than people give him credit for last week. It's still going to be the Packers, though. It's good. The floor's got him going.
I'm going Titans. I'm going Titans minus 2. This isn't fucking pussy Gus Bradley's defense.
Yeah,
this is actually a really good defense.
It's a good point.
So even if Jordan Love plays, I think their defense can give the Packers offensive some fits. If Jordan Love plays, I would pick the Packers, but I'm betting he doesn't. I'm going Titans minus 2. Jolly.
I also think they're going to give Jordan Love one more week. I'm going to very shyly take the Titans here. I don't know how much I believe in it, but that's what I had on my board. I'm sticking to my board.
Listeners are going Packers. Bears at Colts minus 1.5. Honestly, I could have kept this game off the slate, but I didn't. I'm going Bears plus 1.5. For reasons I just said, I hate Gus Bradley. Think he should be fired. This is the Caleb Williams' first good game in the NFL. I'm going Bears plus 1.5. Listeners are going Colts. Justin, who do you got?
Bears.
Jolly.
Bears. Colts stink. Hi, Dalton.
Tough.
I need the Bears to either, if they're not going to be good, to not get good quick, so I can stop putting them on there, because every year I just fall in love with the Bears. Lions at Cardinals +3. This probably is going to have the highest over/under of the week. Jolly, what do you got?
It does have the highest over/under of the week. We talked about it in our power ranking show.
Part of me really wants to pick the Cardinals there.
Does it actually? Did you look that up, or are we just guessing like we guessed on power rankings?
No. Oh yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Do us a favor, by the way.
No. I'm actually saying we guessed on power rankings. We didn't look it up.
No, I looked it up. I had it in front of me when I said, yeah. But I thought you were being sarcastic. I'm gonna ask people to do us a favor. If you want to go to war for us, and you want to be like one of our bulldogs, go tell people on our power rankings videos that say that we're dumb. Tell them that they're fucking stupid. How about that?
Actually, here's where we need to start having our separate power rankings list, because what the issue is that we'll differ on certain teams, and that will drop that team down a little bit, even if they're higher, a little higher. But it will move up. Like the Cowboys shouldn't have moved up this week. Even if you're not like out on the Cowboys, they shouldn't have moved up this week. And they did, because me and you differed on a few of the other teams where like I would have them in the top 10 and then you in the teens and vice versa.
All right, so maybe we can split the screen in two. Where like on the right side of the screen we have my rankings.
Yeah, that's what we should
side.
do. We should have our own power rankings. We should
that may be sensory overload for people. We'll see.
But I want to have my own power rankings. Like, so I went in both posts and commented mine. Like, these are mine.
People will.
What did you pick,
pissed.
Jolly?
I'm picking the Lions.
Because I kind of get it. Like, I get being mad that the Cowboys moved up last week. Listeners are going Lions as well. So am I. The Lions got to win this game. They have to win this game. They can't lose this game, or else I might get a little worried about them. Justin, what do you got?
Cardinals.
Ooh.
I love the offense.
Ravens at Cowboys +1. I actually crossed out my original answer because this is the game I have the toughest time making a prediction on, because Lamar only has one loss against an NFC team. Happens to be the Giants, but the main factor in that is that it was against Wink Martindale, who coached against him every day for a couple years. But I just think this Cowboys team is a lot better, and then Micah Parsons versus that offensive line can wreck the game. So I'm just gonna go Cowboys +1 and not do the Lamar versus NFC thing, even though I think that's an actual real thing, because it's hard to prepare for him when you don't have to prepare for him except for once every 4 years.
Ravens running the ball against that Cowboys interior, and those linebackers are fascinating. Like the Ravens could have a good day, but I think the Cowboys can score points, and they can score them in a hurry if they want to.
I agree.
So that's the thing where if the Ravens get a lead and then they play with that lead and then they play time of possession, great. But I just think the Cowboys are going to take care of business. So give me the Cowboys.
I just don't see how they stop CeeDee Lamb.
Right.
Now here's the other thing: is the Cowboys' rushing game is awful.
Yeah, awful.
So I think they're just two flawed teams that will probably make the playoffs, but I'm going Cowboys. Listeners are going Ravens. Jolly, what do you got?
The Ravens would fall to 0-3.
I'm going.
That's the other thing. It's like,
Ravens.
can I actually pick the Ravens to go 0-3? I don't know.
I'm going Ravens. It's okay.
Alrighty, and then last game of the week, we got Chiefs at Falcons +3.5. This is the only one I didn't write down, so I guess I'm having a tough time with this one. Listeners are going Chiefs. Jolly, what do you got?
I liked what I saw last week.
And a Kirk.
I love the Falcons' defense. I hate their offense, though.
I'm still worried about Kirk's legs a little bit, but yeah, ride the magic. Give me the Falcons. Live a little.
Go Falcons. My high school mascot was the Falcons, and then the announcer it sounded like he was saying Falcons.
Oh, fuck.
Go Falcons. I'm going Chiefs. You know what? I kind of just had an epiphany. Like, why the fuck would you not take Patrick Mahomes versus an immobile Kirk Cousins? I'm going Chiefs. Justin, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm also going to go Chiefs, too.
Time for Giants at Cleveland Browns score predictions. Jolly, what do you got?
I think this one's going to be a defensive slog. I think we're going to see a lot of ground game. I don't know how much room the Giants are going to have to run anything sophisticated in their offense. Big week for the O-line. Let's see how real this is. But I do have the Giants following this game. I'm going to say 13-10.
Justin.
19-13. Browns win.
That was a big year. The Giants did enough last week to where they're not, where it's just like, oh, they can't they can play a little bit of football against bad teams. The Cleveland Browns offense is really bad. The Cleveland Browns defense is really good. But you know what? Screw Baker Mayfield. Screw Odell Beckham Jr. Screw Cleveland. I'm going Giants 77, Browns 0. Give me a 2021 Saints game. Give me a delusion game where it's like, oh, are we actually figuring it out? Right? Just give me that. I know this season's not going to be a good season. Give me a delusion game where it's like, we beat the Browns defense. We could be 2-2 next week if we beat the Cowboys on a short week. They're flawed. Like, it literally give me 2021 all over again. Giants 77, Browns 0. We'll see you guys on Monday for a recap pod. Until then, let's go Big Blue.